All right, good morning, everybody, and be quiet. We have other guests in our webinar recording area today. So, today we're talking about telling your AmeriCorps story. So we've got a couple of folks that have done that either in their service or have different interesting service stories that we're going to chat to today. This sounds like a radio show. It's not intentionally supposed to be. So, I'm here, and then Ann Rabaki from CapCan, Chris Castle from CapCan, and Rita Hockemeyer from CapCan, or not from CapCan, from Carson City Crystal Schools, are all here, and they're going to be sharing their AmeriCorps stories at the end. But we're going to go through some brief stuff to kind of get your brains rolling on thoughts for your little elevator pitch while we start. So, let me do this really quick. There we go. So briefly, we're going to go over an overview of what is national service, because that's pretty important if people are asking you about AmeriCorps. So there's two main programs under the Corporation for National and Community Service. So that's CNCS. So if we talk about like Kathy Sharp from CNCS, that's who we're talking about. So there's two main branches. So it goes to AmeriCorps and Senior Corps. And Senior Corps has a ridiculous amount of people that are serving. They have like 270,000 versus AmeriCorps 75,000. So like if any of you guys were at the AmeriCorps celebration in Lansing, there were a ton of Senior Corps people and they were super stoked. That's why, it's because there's so many of them and it's ridiculous. They do stuff like foster grandparents. They work in schools. They do a lot of cool stuff. But then we've got AmeriCorps, and then AmeriCorps splits into three different branches. So that's NCCC, VISTA, and State and National. So NCCC is the National Civilian Community Corps, which is, why is it not clicking through? There we go. National Civilian Community Corps, which is NCCC. So it's direct service, so they are like cutting down trees and building parks and like eradicating blight in areas. They're doing a bunch of like hands-on work. They're in like a variety of different regions. They're like 8 to 10 member teams that they just like live with for a full year. They deploy to different areas. It's a really cool organization. It's an age-restricted service, which is relatively rare in AmeriCorps. But so I think you have to be less than 25, I think, to be an NCCC member. So sorry, Rita.
I don't want to hear it.
just missed the cutout. So yeah, so they also encompass the FEMA Corps. So there's a corps of members that will deploy when there are natural disasters in the country. So when there are hurricanes, when there are landslides, when there are really particularly bad blizzards and stuff. There's like 1,600 FEMA Corps members that will then deploy to work to support the areas that have been affected. So they're a portion of AmeriCorps. They're really cool, and if you're talking to high school students about a gap year, this is a cool opportunity. If they're not really sure, they want to go see the rest of the country, they want to go, dig up trees and build things and do like hands-on work, this is a great opportunity. And there's a lot of growth that's come from there. I have a couple of good friends that have done NCCC, and they were really, really positive about the experience. Then there's State and National, which is like the broadest category of AmeriCorps. So it's most of the people that you see that aren't VISTAs are in State and National. So there's City Year, there's Advise Michigan, like the college advisors, Reading Corps, Education Corps, a lot of those, a variety of different like branded national service organizations are AmeriCorps State and National. So they can do direct or indirect service. It's pretty wide range. They're often ones that do summer associates, so they'll do like 3 to 12 months of service. And then the interesting point of them too is that they do hourly requirements, whereas like VISTAs, you're expected to serve 365 days. With State and National, you're just expected to serve X amount of hours, which is kind of a different perspective, but it's interesting. So yeah, so most folks that are doing direct service like in schools and in other places are AmeriCorps State and National. They still get the same education award, but they don't get a end-of-year cash bonus if you choose to. And then we have VISTA, and that is the only famous VISTA that I could find, roughly. And if you guys know of more famous VISTAs, please let me know. It's George R.R. Martin from Game of Thrones. I think it's funny that a guy that spent so much, a year of his life doing good for his community wrote Game of Thrones. But yeah, so it's indirect service, 12 months of service, no required uniform, which is actually relatively rare too. You're welcome for not making you wear polos or those cool city-year jackets that Chris is wearing. Jealous. There's like 8,000 members-ish annually in the country. There's almost 250,000 alumni. Cool organization. You guys know about VISTA because you guys have been doing it for almost 6 months. But that's the little spiel for why AmeriCorps VISTA is different than all of the other branches. So, why does this matter? Like, why should you be prepared to share your story of service, why you're here, what you're doing, why does it matter? It matters a lot. So it matters both from during your service year, because there's ways to build community partnerships, to find resources for folks that you're serving. It is amazing how many meetings you can get into if you just say, hi, I'm an AmeriCorps VISTA serving with their host site here. I just have some questions for you. Most people will answer your questions. Most people will be pretty amenable to helping. And then the other thing that's important is that, VISTA is a good professional development year. And being able to leverage your service and the skills that you've learned in your service is pretty critical. And I think, we can all practice telling people what we're good at and telling people what we've spent a year, kind of sharpening our skills with. So, if I can click, let's see. There we go. Practical application. Forgot that I put a picture of Anne on here. Speaking about your service in AmeriCorps, so there's a lot of opportunities, and I would encourage you anytime anyone asks you to speak about your AmeriCorps service to do it, because it's great for the brand. Not everyone knows about AmeriCorps. I don't know about you guys, but I only figured it out when I was Googling like Peace Corps with less commitment, and then AmeriCorps popped up. But again, the more that we can get out AmeriCorps, and particularly VISTA, the better the future of national service looks. So Javier was a VISTA last year, and he had an opportunity to present to the Rotaract Club of MSU. And he ended up getting like an award for like being an outstanding citizen of service, which is pretty cool. And then Anne talked to one of the local news stations about FAFSA and about her service at CAPCAN and at the schools that she's serving at. And again, it's good for your org, it's good for AmeriCorps, it's good for you to get good public speaking experience. You can have a screen grab of you on TV, apparently, and I'll send that to you. But it's a great opportunity to continue to let people know that national service is real and doing good work in the country. There we go. Building community partnerships is another big one that I think is pretty critical. I mean, that's part of our performance measures, right? And so this is one of the community partners that I made when I was in service last year, Farm to Fork Alcona. So they worked to get healthy food into cafeterias and worked at workforce development to support the local farmers in the area, because I was in a very rural area. So that's one of my co-VISTAs and I, Marita, working with Farm to Fork at a school-related event. But again, if you can identify that you're a VISTA, that you're working for, or you're serving with whatever your host site organization is, and then give a brief like blurb about what that is, it makes it easy for a community partner to kind of know what they're getting into. Most folks will want to partner with whatever organizations they're working with because they're good orgs. The other thing is you can represent your organization. That's a great picture of Dylan at a career fair representing AmeriCorps. But some folks do volunteer centers. I know Sandra has got the Davenport University Volunteer Center. There's a lot of other places that you need to represent and to be able to speak to your organization and the purpose and what people can get back through working with your org. And again, I think it's great practice. If you have a kind of a go-to spiel, it's easy to rattle off and it's easy to make more connections and to get more volunteers, which is huge. Looking forward to graduate school is a big thing. I know a lot of VISTAs, this is a gap year. So this is part of a gap, portion where you can go to graduate school. Big up, good point on this is that you might want to look into if you're looking at taking the GRE or you're looking at applying. A lot of schools will waive, the GRE has some level of fee waiver that you're eligible for through AmeriCorps. A lot of schools will waive your application fees, both because you are making $12,000 a year and because you're in AmeriCorps. So if you're looking at that stuff, just kind of keep that in the back of your head, because I think we all know that we don't have a ton of spare cash on hand normally, and this is a good way to make your money go further. So I think one of the bigger practical applications too is in job interviews. So being able to effectively talk about your service and what you got out of your service year is pretty critical. I think, AmeriCorps gets you in a lot of meetings, a lot of rooms, and it gets you a lot of opportunities that are pretty rare for an entry-level position in a nonprofit field. For instance, on the right, Michigan Nonprofit Association has a quarterly magazine called Links, and Zakia, the last VISTA leader, wrote in that, I think like 3 or 4 times, wrote pretty key articles as a part of that magazine. And again, that's a good thing to add to your portfolio. There's another, this is a plug again for the Sarah Ballard Scholarship. If you are new to the nonprofit space and volunteer management, I would strongly encourage you to apply to that. I did last year and I got it, and I went to the Points of Light conference last year, and it was really, really helpful, and it was great networking, and it was great information. But again, I think there's a lot of opportunities like that. And there's opportunities in your communities to leverage what you're able to do through national service. But it's always critical that you have to be able to talk about it in a job interview and be able to frame it in a light that whatever org you're applying to work for can say, oh, I like this person, I want to go work for, I want them to go work for me, because they seem like they know what they're doing, even if you don't. So, where to start? This is kind of a two-pronged approach, building community partnerships and then in a job interview. So essentially the basics of an elevator pitch are the basics about you, so what's your name, what are you doing, your experience and what you've been doing lately, your goals or what you want to get out of it, and then how it connects to the person. Because most people, if you can connect it to how they can get something out of it, will be more amenable to helping you. So these are examples, so bear with them. But so building community partnerships, I think the best way to start is, hi, I'm Meredith Murley, and I'm an AmeriCorps VISTA serving with whatever your host site is. Please don't say Meredith Murley, please say your actual name. But yeah, so, and you don't have to say M&A. We're not going to be offended if you don't say Michigan Nonprofit Association. Just say, if you're Ann Roboski, you're an AmeriCorps VISTA serving with CAPCAN in Danville School. So they know roughly what you are. They might ask you what a VISTA is, but that's valid. But they know that you're not a staff member. They know who you are. They know who you're working with. With a job interview, I think it depends. I think everything, and the real takeaway on this is it all depends, right? And it all depends on who you're talking to and who you are. But I think the basics, where did you come from? Why were you a VISTA? Where did you serve? So, I'm a former engineer who transitioned to serving in the nonprofit space. I like building capacity in rural communities. My service as a VISTA in a rural school district provided me with the opportunity to understand the challenges that are presented to first-generation college kids. Doesn't give every single thing I did at the high school, but gives roughly what I did. Worked with, first-gen college kids, worked in a rural school district. I was an AmeriCorps VISTA. So then we're going to transition to the past and the present. And so these are a couple of questions that you should kind of look to answer, or at least reflect on. So what does your org do? What's your org's history? You know, I served in a high school, so, you know, we talked about, part of my elevator pitch was AmeriCorps VISTA, so you dedicate a year of your life to fighting poverty, but then what am I really doing in the high school? So I'm promoting VASTA completion, I'm studying college business, I'm doing workforce development opportunities for youth. You know, what's your role in this? Are you facilitating it? Are you planning it? Are you piloting a curriculum? What are you doing? And then in a job interview, I think you should talk about what are you responsible for at your host site, and what's your hard numbers that you got done, right? So I executed 7 college visits. I created a new tracking method for FAFSA completion. I, you know, ran a pilot with, and I should have added a number, but like with 14 students for a near-peer mentoring program. Numbers are important, and I think numbers are quantifiable, and that's pretty critical with, you know, sharing what you can bring to the party. With building community partnerships, I think you should look at what you're trying to accomplish. Like, why do you want this partner to join you? You know, what does that get you, and what does that, like, further your mission at your host site? So, you know, we're looking forward to planning the decision day. You know, this involves the entire senior class. It involves the other 3 grades as an audience. You know, it's great for promoting a college-going culture at, you know, Alcona High School. With your job interview, I think you need to look at your career goals and how they connect from, you know, what you did as a VISTA to what you're looking towards with the position that you're interviewing for. But again, these all connect in, like, what do you want, and how do you connect it from VISTA to your goal, to the interest for, you know, the third party. So, like, when you're building community partnerships, you need to look at the fit. When you're talking about a job interview, you need to look at your fit for the organization. What do people get out of this? And so, you know, normally with building community partnerships, if you have an ask, if you want to have someone donate a door prize for your senior high school, if you want someone to speak at your event, if you want them to partner and go to a couple meetings with you, include the ask, you know, and include it, you know, you're a valued member of our community, we think that this would be really helpful for you and us. Would you be willing to donate a prize, or would you be willing to speak to our kids? Because I think sometimes we beat around the bush with that kind of stuff, but most people are willing to help if you can make the pitch effectively. And if you can say, look, this is what I'm doing, this is why it's important, please help us. Most people are pretty functional, good adults that will help you. And if they don't, then you can move forward and kind of adjust. And same with a job organization, you know, like, if you're excited to work for this place, tell them that you're excited to interview with them, you're excited to work with their organization, and why. Because again, I think people care about people that are straightforward and that are going to actually ask for what they want. So this is broadly the community partnerships pitch. I'm not going to read it all, but I can read part of it. So it's essentially all of the pitch that we just went through, those 4 steps, but I just copied and pasted them into the same thing. So hey, I'm Meredith Murley. I'm an AmeriCorps VISTA serving with Alcona Community Schools. VISTA members dedicate more than a year to their life to fight poverty by building sustainable programs and institutions that address local needs. As a VISTA, I'm working to promote FAFSA completion, plan college visits, and facilitate workforce development opportunities for youth in the area. As the end of February approaches, I'm looking forward to planning the Decision Day celebration at Alcona High School. This involves the entire senior class and includes the 3 other grades in the high school as an audience. You know, you're a member of a community that has consistently valued post-secondary education, and as a member of the business community, would you be willing to support our seniors by donating a door prize for the Decision Day event? So they know who I am, they know roughly who I'm working with, they know what is important to this event, and they know that I know something about them, and they know what I'm asking for. And so that's roughly what your partnership is. And again, everything shifts, right? So this isn't every community partner, this isn't every organization, this isn't every, you know, college fair that you go attend and you're trying to solicit volunteers. But it's broadly, you know, the basics. Same with the tell me about yourself. I'm really not going to read that one. I know I said I wasn't going to read the last one, but it was easy. But, you know, tell them about yourself. Tell them why what you did was important. Tell them why it matters to them, and then ask for what you want. So, with that being said, we've got a couple of our VISTAs here that have cool and different AmeriCorps and National Service experiences, or have had the opportunity to actually share their AmeriCorps service experience. So we've got Chris, who I'm going to give you like a brief primer, and then I'll turn it over to you. So Chris served with City Year Chicago, and he is now currently serving at Capital Area College Access Network in Eaton County. So Chris is going to give his brief spiel, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to talk through it. So Chris, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. As Mary said, my name is Chris Castle. I proudly serve with the City of Chicago at Wendell Phillips Academy High School and Charles F. Dean School of Excellence. And of course, now I work with the Capital Area College Access Network. For those who don't really know what City Year is, it is a near-peer tutoring organization that works directly in the schools with grades 4th through 9th grade. And we work in rural areas or urban areas like Chicago, Detroit, Boston, San Francisco. City Year focuses on working with the students in 3 major areas, so that being attendance, behavior, and course performance. And we help those students in these areas and work directly with the schools and the teachers to help them reach the needs of those students. These activities included, but we're not limited to, creating like an after-school program that encourages tutoring and volunteer opportunities, working one-on-one with students on the daily basis, and working with the teachers, making sure that the students were actually coming into school, like behaving, like making sure, like if we had a kid who was like not like really wanting to be there, like trying to promote them to try to stay in the classroom rather than being kicked out of the classroom. And we also hosted events like family engagement nights, service projects, and also support our local community members in like around the school area that helped us like promote like our big events like the family engagement night. Along with that, we also worked with the Chicago Transit Authority. So like we had a partnership, City Year had a partnership with the Transit Authority, which allowed us to have free transportation. In return for that free transportation, we had to do service projects for them. So like a lot of major events that I got to work with were like helping like direct traffic during the Chicago Marathon, and like when it came around like Christmas holidays, doing the holiday train, and that was really fun. Be on the CTA and be with Santa and get to see all the little kids' faces. It's hilarious. But with that, it gave me a lot of experience with public speaking, leadership, and problem solving. I was so thankful for like the opportunities that was provided for me and my wonderful supervisors who gave me these opportunities to work. And then, like once my service term with City Year was completed, I was like, I didn't really know where to go from here. I knew that I wanted to be continuing working in other educational like nonprofits, so I began my search with AmeriCorps positions, and then I found the VISTA program, and then applied to the Capital Area College Access Network. And with that, I used my experiences with City Year to help leverage my to get this position, and now like working with CapCan, I basically am kind of doing what I was doing with City Year, but more focusing on like the high school seniors and like helping create like FAFSA events, helping them like navigate how to do the college application forms, how to like figure out like what's the best decision for them, like, but also like what really kind of like drove me to do this was like seeing the kids' face, like seeing the students' faces where they're like, wait, I can actually like go to post-secondary like places, like I can do this, and like that really has helped. As Meredith is, I'm glad that.
Meredith's the problem. Sorry, Chris.
I'm just really excited to show these students that they have other opportunities outside of high school, and I'm hoping that I can continue to make that impact.
Thanks. I was listening. I was just checking to make sure the audio was good. Turns out it's great. Cool. What was your favorite part about City Year?
Honestly, my favorite part about City Year was working in the schools and like seeing like the kids like whenever they figured out a question that they've been struggling with, and then finally like that light bulb moment, and it's like, oh, and of course like, so some of the photos on the lovely PowerPoint that Meredith made, so the little girl with like the pajama was like my favorite student, and she's not as happy as she was when after that picture was taken. She didn't like her picture being taken, but I was like, please, 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 please. And she was very happy to do so after that. And then like, so in the mornings, you can see like one of my coworkers like reading a story to like the elementary school kids. So we basically, all students had to like line up in front of us, and like, so we had to like keep track of everybody in the morning. And for me, I was just like, this is ridiculous. How are we gonna like keep track of all these kids? So then finally we're like, let's just read a story. Like read like a small story in the beginning of the day, and like kind of get them to like get a little focused on the day. And then you can kind of see like our really cool big sign that's like our family engagement night sign, which was basically, it was right during Black History Month. So we basically kind of based the event on like Black Harlem, Black Renaissance, like doing like kind of creating events around that. And then once we got to like test taking for elementary schools, it was like getting ready for the 8th graders, getting ready to take like their entrance exams to high school. For 6th graders, 5th graders, it was like getting ready to like pass the I-step or whatever the Illinois equivalent was at the time. And we came up with that bulletin board with like, all the test taking stuff, and it was so much fun because like we also were like, what are some ideas that you think would be a really good idea to go put on board? We got like some silly ones like eating a lot of junk food. I'm like, no, that's not what you need to be doing. But so like, but it was good that like it was really cool to like work with the students on some of those.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for sharing. Anne, are you next?
I am.
Okay, so Anne is also serving at Capital Area College Access Network, but she is in Dansville High School and the Wilson Talent Center, but they're both in the Ingham area. So, Anne, take it away.
All right. So my name is Anne Rabowski, and I'm the College and Career Advisor at Dansville High School and the Wilson Talent Center. For those of you who don't know, the Wilson Talent Center is essentially just a technical school where high school kids can go and receive a variety of certifications and trainings. There's anything from like cosmetology to welding. They used to have aviation, but they no longer have that. And overall, there's like 17 programs, so it's really cool. So I just graduated from Aquinas College last year, so I'm out of the college. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was really interested in nonprofits and volunteering. My senior year, I actually interned at 2 nonprofits, which I think really just encouraged me more to pursue AmeriCorps and things like that in general. But I volunteered or interned at Kids Food Basket, which I absolutely loved, and also at the Ronald McDonald House in Grand Rapids. For about a year or so, I would say, I was like just like on the AmeriCorps website looking at all the positions. Just thinking there's so many, so it's always so hard, whether it's like from Colorado to Ohio to like anywhere. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. In general, I ended up moving back to East Lansing, still didn't know what I wanted to do, but still AmeriCorps was on my mind. I think it was like a destiny or something, but CapCan came to me, and I found that while looking for jobs, and that like looked perfect. It was like right around East Lansing. It was up my alley more or less with my bachelor. I got in Bachelor of Arts in Communication in college, and so it was like kind of relevant. And my dad used to be the dean of admissions for MSU, so like some background in a sense with that, which was cool. So following his footsteps. But I really wanted to help people and be a part of the support system, so here I am. So within both schools, I focus on helping students with college applications, filing their VISTAs, telling them what VISTA is, finding and applying for scholarships, and answering other questions they might have for their plans for after graduation. So I really like working with all the students. Being part of the support system is like my favorite part. Making a difference, especially with like the students who are first gens, which there are a lot at definitely Dansville, which is a very small rural high school. Just being there and someone that they know that they can come to me for any kind of question, and helping them feel they have confidence for the next year and what their plans are, whether it is college or a career. What else? So a few exciting things that have happened so far this year are planning college field trips. We're going to go to Jackson soon, and we went to Western, and we also went to U of M, which was cool to take the Danville kids there, which they wouldn't have had the opportunity otherwise. Just to give them a variety of colleges and what their opportunities could potentially be in the following years. I also organized a few college fairs, one at the Wilson Town Center, which was pretty big. I think it was double from previous years. But we had about 30 colleges and also a few military branches there. Go around and talk to all the admission reps and just learn about their opportunities. As far as FAFSA, I've done a few of those events too, and that got a little media attention, which is cool, from Channel 6. So I just got to talk about CapCan and what we're doing there. Yeah, I've really enjoyed my year so far and everything that I've learned and have done so far.
What has been your favorite event that you've held this year?
I'd probably say the college and career day at the Wilson Town Center, just because it's nice to provide all those opportunities to the kids. A lot of them didn't consider whether we had a few military branches, which some kids knew they wanted to go into that, so they had that there. Kids who were thinking of going to others, U of M Flint or U of M in Ann Arbor, we had that there. So it was just cool to have their needs kind of met, I suppose.
That's awesome. Also, nice pictures that you apparently are always jumping for college access.
So excited.
Just very thrilled about college access. I'm glad. And flamingos, which for reference is about FAFSA Flock, which is I think, is it CapCan?
Yeah, it's a new initiative this year that we're trying to get kids excited about filing.
File your FAFSA and get a flamingo. Yeah, so thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. So the last one is Rita Hockmeyer, who, if you guys don't sit next to Rita at a training, I would highly recommend it. Because Rita's stories are awesome. They're hilarious, and they're super interesting, and Rita served in Peace Corps in the...
No, in the 70s.
In the 70s. Rita served in the Peace Corps in the 70s. She just made a Snapchat. Rita's hilarious, but she's got a real heart for service, and so this is her second year at Carson City Schools, where she was a teacher there before. We're hoping that she's a third-year VISTA next year. She just rolled her eyes at me. But yeah, so Rita's got a whole lifetime of service, so this is going to be Rita on your lifetime of service.
Well, you just told my whole story, so I don't have a whole lot more to say. And on this slide that you're looking at, it says, ask not what you can do for what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. You know, I grew up with that quote sort of ringing in my ears because John Kennedy is the one that said that, and we're talking way back in the 60s, okay? So, yeah, I'm pretty old. But, you know, that sort of rang in all of our ears. We grew up hearing that stuff. He was one of the first presidents to be able to be on national TV. And so, you know, we watched all his stuff that happened with him, okay? It was at the end of the Cold War, so we were trying to make good relationships with other countries in the world, and that's where the Peace Corps came into being. Now, I have to say that I sowed quite a few wild oats during my time after high school. I got through college somehow. I don't even know how, but I did. And, you know, I really didn't have a clue what I wanted to do when I walked out the doors. I really didn't join the Peace Corps out of loyalty to the United States or anything. I just was desperate for a job. So there goes my service, yeah, right. Anyway, so in the late 70s, teachers were a dime a dozen, and I took a job right out of college working with the county extension office, and soon found out that people like to play politics. Well, I don't do well at playing politics, so I quit, and there I was. So after a search or two, I ended up down at Michigan State, and somebody said, you should join the Peace Corps. Okay. So I ended up working through the 4-H program at Michigan State, and I applied for this job in Belize in Central America as the Assistant National 4-H Director, which was under Peace Corps. Again, I really wasn't focusing on Peace Corps, but I'd been a 4-H member, and I felt like that was something that I could really do. I ended up on a plane, heading to the tropics. Oh, my God. When I got off that plane, I thought I was going to die. It was so hot, like 95 to 100% or more humidity every single day of your life for the next 2 years. Now, you sort of, you adapt. I did. The mosquitoes stopped biting as I ate more garlic, and I became part of their culture. I became part of their community. And I have to say, even though I didn't know what I was doing most of the time, I liked to serve. And I was there during Hurricane David, which happened many years ago. I went out into Belize City and walked on people's houses to find out if they were okay. And, you know, serving after a hurricane is a horrible, horrible experience. I came to love their culture. I lived it. I celebrated their accomplishments, and I mourned during their times of grief. But in the meantime, I had a job. And you know, serving is, and I believe this with AmeriCorps too, serving is not just about doing the job. It's about being out in the community and living your life in front of those people. And luckily, people liked me in Belize, and I had a decent reputation for most of the time. But I was able to help build a national 4-H youth center that still exists today. I designed the floor plans for the dormitory, and it's still there. The program went from 6 kids for 3 months to, I'm not sure exactly how many. I'm thinking it's like 30 or 40 kids, and they have a whole year program, and they actually end up with some vocational credit. So I was part of the breaking ground of that program, and it's still happening today. And I have been able to visit with people that work for Michigan State now, and there's a trip being planned through 4-H for next year. And I'm pretty sure they got me on their watch list to go help chaperone. Yes. So that'll be a part of, if I stay with VISTA, that's part of my work, right?
We can make that work.
Okay. So here I am, 42 years later, I think. It's a long time ago that I did that stuff. I mean, I was like 20s. So, like, I could, climb hills and wander through streams and all kinds of craziness that we did in Belize. But, so here I am now, 42 years later. And again, I didn't come out of loyalty to AmeriCorps or anything like that. I had taught. I'd owned a business for almost 20 years, working with people with disabilities, taking care of them, more service. Then I did another 20 years in Carson City, teaching. And so, I lived this whole thing. I have become part of Carson City. So I came back to AmeriCorps because my supervisor was actually a colleague of mine when I was teaching, and I used to say during that time that I wanted the VISTA job when I retired, but I sort of forgot about that, and my supervisor came and begged me, and literally begged me to take this job, and I did. And I realize now I came back to AmeriCorps because I loved my people, and because I felt like it was important for me to be able to be back there with the kids, with the community, to to make things happen again. You know, we just couldn't let things die. Teachers in that school need support. They need support to be able to teach our kids. And the kids need support because there's so many broken families and so much poverty in that area. So I've been able to help put together some programs to help support the people around me and to be part of the community and get them involved in that. We put together a care closet that started with just a few bags of clothes that somebody dumped in my room, and now my whole room is care closet because people figured out that we were doing it, and the whole community's become involved, and they're so excited. They're excited to be able to bring and take part in that and help the kids and help the families. So the other thing that I've carried on some things that were already in place, our recycling program, and I sponsored the leadership team. We adopt families at Christmas. We've done big events like Relay for Life. But, you know, again, I think that the doing service in the school with the kids is teaching them. It's something that they're always learning, is how to be a part of the community, how to be able to present themselves, how to make a difference. And so it's about poverty and it's about workforce development and all that, but for me it's about instilling in these kids how important they really are and how much we can help them to become active citizens in the community. So, you know, to tie it up, I guess I could say that I had a servant's heart when I was young, and like Anne, I think I fell into some things and it was meant to be. I don't regret any of it. I love my job. I wish it weren't full-time because I'm supposed to be retired, but I do love my job and I love being part of the community. And I just hope that maybe I'm making a difference. And I don't know for sure if I'll do my third year because I really don't want to work full-time, but if they could make a VISTA job a part-time, I'd probably be more than happy to. Anyway, I don't know that I have anything else important to say. You got something you want to ask me?
Sure. What was your favorite part of serving in Belize? What was the coolest part?
Sure you want me to answer that?
What was your favorite legal part?
Probably spending time with the families that lived around me and being part of the community. I mean, I liked my job, but I don't know that it was the most fun part.
That's valid.
And learning about another culture, you know. It was awesome.
I think service is one of the good ways of, like, you can actually just totally integrate yourself into a different place.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that that's super cool. And it's, man, I think it's just one of the coolest places to get to know other people.
Yeah.
Cool. So, thanks, Rita.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Anytime. If you talk to Rita during Mark's training, please tell her to do a third year. I'll bake you cookies. That's not true. I'll have someone else bake you cookies because you don't want. So we are going to go into some cohort connection things because I think this is important, especially in light of the fact that we don't have field trips this year. So this is your time to share out. So raise your hand or type in the chat, and we'll either read it or unmute you. But does anybody have any big or small victories this month? Good things that happened, large, small, minor, awesome. I'll gladly take any of them. They will in a second. Please. I'm also slow, so, like, be patient with me. Any victories? Normally there's 2 people that are running this, but I am currently the only one. So I had a victory this month. I got through all of the training for the March training. Like I did all of the planning and stuff. So it might be relatively smooth. And you guys have hotel rooms, so that's really my real victory. You have somewhere to stay. But yeah, that was a good one. What about you guys? Any victories? Chris got a cat.
I don't know if that's a victory.
Cute cat.
She's adorable though.
She's a very cute cat. Any victories, Anne or Rita?
I think I've met with like almost all of my students to make the exciting. There's a lot of them.
That is awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Pam, you had your hand raised. Do you want to share a victory? Victory. Pam, you're unmuted if you want to share a victory. No. Rita's got a victory?
Yeah, I have a victory.
What's your victory?
Well, I've been working with our local teen center, and I wrote a grant last fall, and got some money to help run a life skills program. And we were able to finish up the first part of it, and I gave the report, but we were able to impact probably 25 kids out of 50, and we're teaching them life skills stuff after school. It's an after-school grant. So I get pretty excited about that because these kids, I'm telling you, they live in broken homes, their parents are in jail, and it just does my heart good to be able to spend time with them and teach them new skills.
That's awesome, Rita.
You didn't even know that,
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Tell me about these victories. Jackie says that she got 2 grants approved for Kent ISD. Jackie, that's dope. For 2 robotics curriculum kits for your career tech center.
Oh, I want to come see
Jackie, Rita's going to come and see you, but that's dope. Nice. June says that she's got 2 public speaking and theater badge events for Girl Scouts this month on the 8th and the 15th. That is awesome. June, were these the events where it was like famous speeches from women? Is that a thing? I think that was a thing. Either way, looks super cool. That's exciting. One of them will be. Nice. Yeah, June's doing an event where the Girl Scouts can read, like these famous speeches. And a lot of them are from, like, strong women. Which is super cool. Excellent.
Sounds like June.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Pam says that we added 60 dinner orders to our Bowls of Love soup dinner that benefits the school food pantry by having her deliver to local businesses and factories. Pam, that's dope. 60 dinners. That's wild.
And dope means?
Dope is cool. We're also teaching Rita words that the kids use these days. All right, any other oh, no, I got excited. Any other victories? Yeah, there was one. Yes. Oh, yes. So Gabrielle organized a FAFSA fiesta at the high school on January 30th, and they had a great turnout. And the Imagine Theater and Little Caesars donated to the event, which is awesome. I've heard about the FAFSA fiesta for a while, and I was very excited to hear it. It's, like, completed. That's, like, super exciting. FAFSA fiesta. Cool. Any other victories? And if I miss you, I'm sorry because I'm slow. All right, going once for victories. Going twice. Sold for victories. If you have any more, put them in the chat and I will read them. So any questions that you guys want to ask the cohort generally? This is a great cohort and it's a great resource for questions that you might have at your host site. If you've got like, man, we're trying to find a cool FAFSA event, or we're trying to, I don't know, look at public speaking options, whatever. This is a really great cohort. So if you guys have general cohort questions, I want to give this space for you guys to answer. Also, seriously, please connect outside of group meetings too, because you guys are all wonderful and smart people.
school board?
Sure.
Last spring, I did sort of a wrap-up PowerPoint to our school board. Little did I know that there was somebody in the audience from the newspaper. Next thing I knew, I had my face smacked in the news and telling everybody everything that I did the whole year. So, you know, anytime you get a chance to make a presentation, it's probably a really good thing. If not for you, if you don't do a second year, for your person that follows you in your position.
That's super true. And I think like the more that you can get out the word of your org especially is huge. Oh, side note, not minor victory, huge victory. Natalie got accepted to the Peace Corps, which we posted about on Facebook, but what a freaking legend. So like, woo yay on Natalie. When you see her at the March training, give her big ups, because that's super dope. So Gabrielle just asked, will you share the presentation? Yes, I will. I will send it out after the webinar concluded. Pam is sharing, not a question, but a share. She toured the first generation program at U of M called Gateway. It's a wonderful resource for helping seniors connect to their colleges, as it includes many ideas. So the first generation program at U of M is called Gateway. It's an awesome resource. That's good to know. Yeah, and I would, again, if y'all are in college access, there's a ton of college access VISTAs right now, and you guys are all really smart and doing great things. So everyone's a really good resource. Pam says it's ranked in the top 15 for first generation students in the nation. So, like, super dope. Again, it's called the first generation program at U of M called Gateway. Excellent. So any questions that you want to ask me, or about reports, about, I don't know, why you didn't get your taxes, anything. Don't ask me that because it's probably still in the mail. But did it come yesterday? Yes.
I got mine.
Excellent. Good. Any questions for me? All right, well, I'm going to hang out after the webinar concludes for a couple minutes if you have any questions that you want to just like touch base really quick on. So then we're going to quick go with housekeeping. QPR2 is due February 7th. That is this Friday. Please make sure your supervisors review it. I would recommend typing it on your Word document and then copying and pasting into Cvent, because Cvent times out after half an hour. And it sucks if you lose that work. Mid-year evaluations, so it's like your evaluations between you and your host site supervisor, are going out next week. So just keep that on your radar. I will be sending an email to both, like, all the VISTAs and all the supervisors. I think they'll be due probably this February 14th, because nothing says Valentine's Day like a mid-year evaluation. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Mid-year training is March 4th through 5th in Lansing. More details on that are coming out soon, but it's going to be most of the day on the 4th, and then until like 3 or 4 on the 5th in Lansing. We are not staying for all of the returning VISTAs. We're not staying at the same place. It should be a little bit nicer. But yeah, so, for your, essentially, Sarah Ballard is due on 14th, I think, not really sure. Check your email about the Sarah Ballard Scholarship. It's really cool, and if you want to review the applications, if you aren't interested in applying but you're interested in reviewing, email Sarah Pinder, who is copied on at least one of the emails in your inbox at some point. It's spinder@mnaonline.org. She would love to have you guys review some of the Sarah Ballard applications. It's not a huge process. It's a couple applications and a phone call. And it's a really great opportunity, again, to get some grant reviewing, and get some more experience in reviewing. That's all I got. So I hope you guys have an excellent day, and we'll touch base soon. Have a good one, guys. Do you guys see your your message. I'll touch base with you. I'll call you later today, if that's cool. Because I think we've got to, like, skedaddle out of this room pretty quick. But I'll put a note in my phone to call you later today. Deal? Cool. Any last chat, questions, thoughts, concerns? All right. I'll call you before 3:30, June. We'll be good. My tires changed anyway. Okay. Go team. As always, email me if you have any other questions. Have an excellent day, all of you.